All right, so understanding Texas open carry laws sometimes, or Texas gun laws period, can seem like mission impossible. We have about 870, it's probably up to 890,000. They haven't released the last couple of months' numbers yet. We've probably got about 890,000 CHL holders in Texas. That's actually embarrassing considering our population. So percentage by population, Texas is not doing as well as some of the other states are doing. And part of the reason for that is because people are always scared to death of hitting a tripwire and making a mistake or doing something wrong, and they'll go to jail. CHL holders have been scared for many, many years. If I used the word printing in here, I'd probably get everybody to tell me what it meant, and it was never actually in the law. But Texas Carry believes that if we do work together through education and relationship building, and we work with law enforcement and the community, then we can unlock the knowledge so that CHL holders and the citizens are secure. CHL holders should not be afraid every time they walk out their door that they're going to make a mistake, or their shirt's going to ride up, or they miss a sign because there was a pom-pom tree in front of it, or whatever the case may be. Texas Carry is leading in a gun rights restoration period here in Texas. We are literally experiencing history in the making. We have now seen a 144-year ban lifted here in Texas. There has been a ban on open carry of a handgun in the state of Texas since 1871. Wow. How many people have been convinced over the years that Texas is this great Second Amendment state? Just raise your hand. Well, we have worked very, very hard to get the makeup off the pig, because it is not. So how does Texas stack up to the rest of the nation? I want you to look at the ones in red first. This was before the '84 session. Texas Carry is partnering with California, Illinois, and New York to be one of 6 states that did not allow open carry of a handgun. How is that possible?
Exactly.
Now, after January 1 of 2016, wait a minute. No, it's 2016. Give me just a minute here. All right, I didn't get to it yet. After January 1 of 2016, Texas will turn orange. Who knows what the yellow are? And you don't get the answer. Who knows what yellow is? Yes, sir.
States that don't require anything.
That is 31 states that have unlicensed open carry of a handgun. Now, pay attention. Vermont has been a constitutional carry state since its inception. It don't even have gun laws. It's got a bluer state in the nation. New Hampshire, Maine, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, all unlicensed open carry states. 3 of the 4 states that touch Texas are unlicensed open carry states. Louisiana has been an unlicensed open carry state for 100 years. New Mexico is a blue state. Unlicensed open carry. Texas is not, as a matter of fact, Texas is getting embarrassed. They're getting left behind. However, Texas Carry is bringing it with truth. We bring it with facts. We do knock out the myths, and I'm going to tell you, we've had to work the hardest knocking out the myths from within the gun rights community, not the opposition. Here in Texas, contrary to popular belief and all the talking points that you hear out there, the world has not ended in the 44 states that have open carry of a handgun, and more importantly, the fact that the sky is not falling in the 31 states that have unlicensed open carry is making the opposition's head explode. These are the facts. I want to give you a little bit of history and talk about Texas Carry's historical impact in the 84th session. Before I get into this, I like giving credit where credit is due. And there are people in here that know me very well. So I give credit where credit is due both ways. So campus carry. The primary driver behind campus carry, the reason campus carry got passed was because of the NRA and the TSRA. I give them credit for that. No doubt about it. I'm going to tell you that open carry passed in spite of the Texas State Rifle Association. In spite of. They opposed us in 2011. They opposed us in 2013, which is why Texas Carry exists today, because we came to understand that gun owners in Texas did not have a voice at the legislature anymore. So let's look at the historical impact. In 1995, SB 60, everybody knows Jerry Patterson, the godfather of the CHL, God bless his soul, right? His bill in the Senate only had 2 signatures. The companion bill, HB 72, only had 23. And notice how I keep saying only. I keep saying only. Fast forward to 2013. By the way, nothing happened from 1995 all the way up to 2013. Nothing happened. Except CHL holders were scared. Fast forward to 2013. The last legislative session, George Lavender filed HB 700. It only had 22 signatures, and there was no Senate companion bill. So what did the 2015 84th legislative session look like with Texas Carry driving this? Texas Carry's efforts led to a historical number. HB 19 had a whopping 85 signatures in the House. 85. Not only is that unheard of on any bill, that's unheard of for sure on any gun bill. We successfully secured 85 signatures. It was a bipartisan bill. Representative Guillen, a Democrat from the South, signed on as a joint author on this bill, and we had several others that co-authored the bill. And in the Senate, we had 14 signatures that we were able to achieve. This was an amazing effort. When we set our goals last October in 2014, when I came out to our board and our staff, and I said, our goal for our bill is 80 votes. Everybody laughed. I said, that is impossible. Well, when I hit 79, I believed it. Like, we're never going to get that last one. We're never going to get that last one when we finally did. I can't claim credit for all 85 because after we hit the 80 mark, all the little scallywaggers that were hanging over here hiding came running to get on the bus. So I can't really take credit for those guys. So, covering the new open carry law. This is what we're going to cover. Who can open carry? We're going to define open carry. We're going to talk about the holster requirement in the law. We're going to talk briefly about retention. And we're going to talk about prohibited places, open versus concealed. We're going to talk about the new 30.07 sign. We're going to talk about the violation sign change. We're going to talk about open carrying in a vehicle. For CHL instructors, we're going to talk about training changes, and then, I believe, very importantly, we're going to talk about interacting with law enforcement. Very important, I want you to say this with me, open carry does not go into effect until January 1st, 2016. Please don't let anybody open carry come September 1. The news media has reported that the law goes into effect September 1st. If y'all want to see a preacher go absolutely nuts and throw Kool-Aid and tea all over his TV, watch me when they do that at home. It drives me crazy because it's dangerous. It puts CHL holders at risk. And unfortunately, people don't do their due diligence to find out these things. All right, who can open carry? Current handgun license holders only. Everybody keep in mind we're talking about CHL holders, handguns, okay? I don't want to talk about long guns and all that, all right? There's no additional training required if you're a current license holder. There's no new license that you have to go get. Your current hand license is all that you need, and the only other thing that you need to do is take your holster from under your shirt and put it on the outside of your shirt. That's it. So what is the definition of open carry? The handgun is partially or wholly visible, but is carried in a shoulder or belt holster by the license holder. There are going to be a lot of people that are not going to open carry, but are extremely grateful this law passed. And that's why. Because now, it doesn't matter if your gun shows as long as it's in a shoulder or a belt holster. I'm going to say that a lot. You're going to know the holster requirement before I get to that part. Okay? So, right here, if I was wearing my t-shirt and reached up and it came up, I'm lawful. Because we can open carry. That is the definition of open carry. Unlawful carry warning, folks. A partially or wholly visible handgun carried on or about the license holder that is not in a shoulder or belt holster can result in unlawful carry by a license holder, which is a Class A misdemeanor. So on January 1st, if you're feeling frisky and you want to go out for a jog and you say, I'm going to put on my ankle holster, I'm going to wear shorts, and I'm going to be all manly, and you go running through the park, you're going to get arrested. It's not on a shoulder holster or a belt holster. Okay?
So you can't carry it in your pocket without it?
Sure you can. That's concealed.
Okay.
The holster requirement is only for open carry. Okay? Open carry in a vehicle by a license holder. Now let me say this. The legislature never intended to talk about open carry in our vehicles. It happened naturally. So if you went out and talked to a legislature about open carry in a vehicle, they would have no idea what you were talking about. The definition of 4602, the penal code, 4602 penal code says, a person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries on, what's the next word? Or about. A CHL holder is not required to have their gun on their person. Nothing in the law says that you have to do that. On or about his person, a handgun in a motor vehicle or watercraft that is owned by the person or under the person's control at any time in which the handgun is in plain view unless the person is licensed to carry a handgun under subchapter H and the handgun is carried in a shoulder or belt holster. What does that mean? It means I'm going to take my holster off with my weapon in it and I'm going to lay it in my seat, and that is lawful. Because it's on or about my person and it's in a belt holster or a shoulder holster. If I wanted to take some Velcro underneath my steering wheel, which I won't, by the way, I'm just saying, if I want to get some Velcro and put it up under my steering wheel and carry my handgun up under my steering wheel, as long as it's in this shoulder holster, it's very legal. So you can open carry in your car. You can put it on your dash. You can strap it to the top of your hood for all I care, as long as it's in a shoulder or a belt holster. Open carry holster requirements, by now you figured it out. If the handgun is partially or wholly visible, it must be carried in a shoulder or a belt holster. There are no retention requirements. I was at the Senate hearing, and sitting next to my right was the Honorable Assistant Chief of Police from Houston. And he said, we need to have all CHL holders carry in a level 3 retention holster. Are you trying to get all CHL holders killed? Draw your weapon out of a level 3 retention holster before you get shot. They don't even use level 3 retention holsters. There's no retention requirements, and here's why. There is no standard definition of what a level 1, level 2, or level 3 is. That's one reason. FOBUS has one definition, Black Hawk has one, Galco has one, Safari Land has one. There's no standard definition of what that means. Second thing is, ladies, how many lady CHL holders do I have in here today? Okay? All right. Y'all carry, most of the time you carry the smaller compact guns. They don't make level 3 retention holsters for y'all's guns. You couldn't find one if you wanted to. You probably couldn't even find a level 2, not a true level 2. No retention. Everybody see me knocking at you up there? I'm talking to you. While there are no retention requirements in the law, we should be aware of good retention practices if we're going to open carry. Even if you conceal carry, you should be aware of good retention practices. I will say this, and I say it at every meeting I go to. Nobody's shot me yet, thank goodness. The worst possible place that a lady can carry her weapon is in her purse. That's just a fact. I know why you do. I get it. I know. Body shapes, clothes, I got all that. I got a wife. God gave me one. In spite of me. But you need to practice good retention practices if you're going to carry that gun in that purse. So you don't want to carry it in a short purse that is only on this side. Okay? You want one that will go all the way over your neck and will hang down across your body. Why? So that nobody can come and snatch it from you. When you go to Walmart, you want to have that long enough so you're going to take it off your body and you're going to put it in your buggy that you can tie that purse around that buggy. Okay? Good retention practices. First, situational awareness. What does that mean? Well, it means I'm pretty comfortable in here. There's plenty of room for me to move around. I can keep myself in a good, safe position and not get in a room where I can't move. But if I'm going to a place that's elbow to elbow full of people, I'm not going to open carry because I can't control what's going on around my weapon. Okay? Good situation. I'm not going to go open carry in the 5th Ward. Not going to happen. Okay? Not going to do it. Body position. What does that mean? Well, it means when you're standing in line at Walmart, that you keep your body turned away from the person behind you and keep your gun pointed away from them. That's what that means, good body position. Keep your arm rested around your gun. You know, don't walk around in a fog like it's not on your hip. You need to be very aware of that gun. You need to be aware of where people are in relationship to your weapon. And then a good holster. I say this every time. I might want to get them to stop recording for this. Please do not go to Walmart or Academy and buy a holster. Please don't do that. Get online, find a reputable holster maker, and get a good holster. A good holster is going to cost you upwards to $100 or more. That's a fact. This is a custom-made holster that I have. I don't have my weapon in it, of course, but when I put my F&X 40 in here and I push it down, you hear a definite click. I have had a 290-pound man come up from behind me at my request and try and pull my weapon out of my holster. And he near pulled my britches off of me. Because this holster is designed that it has to come straight up, to come out. Okay? How many people do I have in here, and don't be bashful, that carry 1911s? Law enforcement, I already know y'all can probably raise y'all's hands, right? 1911s are Glocks. 1911s, yep. Okay. Go get you a good leather holster that is made for your weapon. That's designed to hold it in place. Why do we want to do that, guys? What's the first thing you're going to do when people start shooting? You're going to run. You're going to dive on the ground. You're going to do whatever. That weapon needs to stay on your body. You need to be able to keep possession of that weapon, and that holster is how you do it. So get you a good holster. All right, an important definition. Premises means a building or a portion of a building. The term does not include any public or private driveway, streets, sidewalks, or walkway, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area. I gave you that definition for a reason, because we're going to cover the off-limit areas in 4603 and 46035, and you're going to see that word underlined a lot, the premises. Prohibited places, open versus concealed. I don't need to read this whole thing. There is one place, just one, that you can conceal there, but you cannot open carry there. And that is on college property. Any college property. You can conceal carry, but you cannot open carry on any, not a sidewalk, not a parking garage, not a parking lot, not their grass. No open carry on College. You will get in big, big, big trouble. This, 1 was already in the law, 2 was added. So before, you just couldn't conceal carry on premises, so that was already there, all right? Now you can't open carry on any public driveway, private driveway, street, sidewalk, public or private driveway, street, sidewalk, or walkway, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area of an institution of higher education or private or independent institution of higher education. So no open carry on college property. But this brings me to a question. There is another place that you can open carry that I'm going to highly discourage. Where is it?
Church?
Oh no, I open carry every Sunday at church. Not Somebody said it. No, school, K through 12. We all know we can conceal carry there, right? In the parking lot, right? Yes. On the sidewalk. You can open carry there as of January 1st. But let me explain to you how that's likely going to go. You probably won't make it out alive. Because the world's going to end, the sky's going to fall, we're all going to die because somebody saw a handgun. Phone's going to ring, gun in a school. That's what's going to happen. Here comes SWAT. And they're looking for a guy that's going to go and kill all the kids. And you're going to be the guy wearing the gun. And I would hate to see someone get shot because emotions were very high, fear was very high. Okay? And it's happened. We had a guy get shot in Walmart because he was playing with one of Walmart's guns. Toy guns. Literally. Like, somebody called the cops on a guy that was playing with a toy gun at Walmart, and he got shot and killed.
Oh my gosh.
It makes no sense. We know the environment that we're in today. We know the environment. It makes no sense why we would walk up to a school carrying a handgun knowing what was fixing to happen. Just telling you, you might want to be careful. I highly discourage you doing that. If you want me to do your funeral, contact me before you go to the school. All right. So these are the current prohibited places. Nothing changed in the '84 session. Everything stayed the same other than you can't open carry on college property. I just wanted to review these with you because it applies for open carry and concealed. On the premises of a school, which we talked about, right? Don't need to belabor that point. On the premises of a polling place. I think I have figured out why they want CHL holders to take their guns off before they go in to vote.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure I figured it out because every mass shooting has been carried out by Democrats. Just saying. On the premises of any government court or offices utilized by the court, unless pursuant to written regulations or written authorization of the court. Now I'm going to say something. Is the county judge still here? The retired county judge?
He left.
Too bad the other county judge isn't here. In San Jacinto County, our county judge is fixing to issue a writ that allows all CHL holders to carry in the courthouse. Why shouldn't we be able to carry in the courthouse? I can walk into the capital of Texas, sit in the lieutenant governor's office with my FNX 40 and 45 rounds on my hip. Why am I going to be restricted from why is the CHL holder going to be restricted from carrying into a courthouse? Why? CHL holders are the most law-abiding citizens in Texas. Of all crime committed, all crime, including Class B misdemeanors, we're not talking about Class C, but Class B misdemeanors and of all crime, less than 0.2% are committed by a CHL holder. Less than 0.2%. I can go into the governor's office, I can go into the senator's office, I can go into committee hearings in the Capitol, I can do all these things, but somehow I can't go to my tax assessor collector's office that's in the courthouse. It doesn't make sense. So get your county judge to let CHL holders carry in the courthouse. Now you can't go in a courtroom. I'm not asking for that. We know that they don't want guns in their courtroom, and I'm not trying to dispute that. I don't want to fight that. Great, no problem. Make sure your bailiff is armed. I'm good with that. But don't make us disarmed to go in to get our license renewed or to pay our taxes or whatever it is. Just makes no sense. San Jacinto County will have CHL holders carrying in their courthouse within the next few weeks. On the premises of a racetrack, in the secured area of an airport, important change there that we're going to go over. Everybody know that you can carry, CHL can carry their weapon concealed into an airport? Yes, you can. You just can't go to the rope you fill you up TSA people. Can't go there, but you can go in and take your luggage in. You can go in the doors and go through the common areas and everything's fine. Just don't go to TSA. That's what the law is still today. Within 1,000 feet of the premises of a place, Huntsville, where they're going to have an execution on the day of execution. I did want to talk about this change, HB 554, carrying into a secure area of an airport. It is now a defense to prosecution. By the way, who wants to know why this law was passed? This is kind of cool. There were people that were forgetting that their weapons were in their briefcases or their carry-on luggage. Most importantly, there were 2 legislators that it happened to. So we got that law changed very easily. There was no pushback. Imagine that. So now it is a defense to prosecution that the actor possessed at the screening checkpoint for the secured area a concealed handgun that the actor was licensed to carry under subchapter H, and they exited the screening checkpoint for the secured area immediately upon completion of the required screening process and notification that the actor possessed the handgun. Excuse me, sir, do you know that you left your gun in your briefcase? Oh, I forgot. Before you were going to jail. Now, you're not. A peace officer that investigates it, and they will, let me just relieve all doubt, that investigates conduct that may constitute an offense under this subsection that consists only of an actor's possession of a concealed handgun that the actor is licensed to carry under subchapter H, may not arrest the actor for the offense unless the officer advises the actor of the defense available under subsection E1 and gives the actor an opportunity to exit the screening checkpoint for the secured area and the actor does not immediately comply. I'm going to get that in a real small word for you. Don't argue with the officer. Because bad things are going to happen. If you happen to forget you got your weapon and you get to the secured area of the airport and they say you got a gun, you got to go. Yes sir, yes ma'am, no sir, no ma'am, no. Not I'm going to miss my plane, not anything else. Get out of there. Alright? This law will stop you from spending a lot of money on lawyer fees. By the way, no one's ever been convicted under this. They've been arrested and they always went to court and spent $20,000, $30,000, but they could never prove that they intentionally and knowingly did it. So there was never a conviction for this.
Is that today's time, or was it that law is in the books now?
September 1.
September 1.
All right. Of course, if a business derives 51% or more of its income from the sale of on-premises consumption of alcohol. So we had a DA that submitted a request to find out if courthouses were off limits or not. And in her request, she literally stated that liquor stores were off limits. And I'm like, we got DAs that don't know the law. That's kind of scary. It must be a 51% establishment. It also must be posted at the entrance of the establishment. I'm going to tell you what, it's a personal pet peeve of mine. I was invited to go to brunch in Austin one day, which is dangerous in and of itself. And I'm like, sure. So I go, and I'm concealed carrying, no big deal. And I do what's called announce carry, in case you hadn't figured that out. So I always have these 2 mags right here. Everybody sees them, and everybody knows, hey, that guy's got a gun. That's called announce carry. I can't open carry, but I can let the bad guys know I've got a gun. I can let the good guys know I've got a gun. So I go and I walk in and they take us and they sit us down and I'm ordering. I look to my left and I see a bar over there way in the back wall. I'm like, So I get up and I start walking around and I go back to the door and I look at the door and I don't see nothing. I go back over there to the bar and there sits on the mirror 51% sign. These are the things CHL holders have to worry about. On the premise where a high school, collegiate, or professional sporting event or interscholastical event is taking place, still can't conceal, can't open carry. And on the premises of a correctional facility. You can go in the parking lot, but not the premises, okay? What about these? And several people have already asked me about these. On the premises of a hospital, in an amusement park, I'm going to work very hard next session to get amusement parks struck off of there. Why? Because it's private property and the state shouldn't be mandating that. On the premises of a church, this says prohibited places under 46035. So somebody asked me a while ago, on the premises of a church, synagogue, or other established place of religious worship, or at any meeting of a governmental entity. Now I'll give you a hint. I spent a lot of time at governmental meetings at the Capitol. Never went to jail, and always concealed carry. Here it is. They are only prohibited if a 30-06 or a 30-07 are posted. Subsection B4, B5, B6, and C do not apply if the actor was not given effective notice under section 30.06. Now something that's, I'm sorry?
Which of the previous does that apply to? All of them?
Yes, all of those. B4, B5, B6, and C. Now, I didn't put this in my PowerPoint, but one of another interesting little thing that Senator Campbell did, we had tax assessor offices that were putting up 30-06 signs. And they were saying, well, we're having a governmental meeting in here. Because they were meeting with me as a taxpayer. So now a governmental meeting has to fall under the Open Meetings Act. So Commissioners Court would fall under that. If Commissioners Court wants to put up a 30-06, they can post a 30-06. I wouldn't advise it. You might find a lot of people coming to get you unelected. City halls, if they're having a city council meeting, they can post a 30-06. While Houston may get away with that, I'm not 100% sure Conroe would. All right, new sign edition. So everybody knows what 30-06. If you don't know, I'm going to tell you. 30-06 is criminal trespass by a license holder. It is a sign that is required to be posted if a private property owner does not want us carrying concealed on their place of business. So if you walk up to the mall door, the entrance at the mall door, and they've got a 30-06 sign posted, you cannot enter. You've got to turn around and go put your weapon up to enter. Okay? The same thing applies for 30.07. If a business does not want us open carrying on their private property, they're going to put up a 30-06 sign, or they can ask you to leave. Either or. Okay? 30-07 means no open carry on premises. Just like a 30-06 means it for no concealed carry. All right? I'm not going to read all of this. The language is very similar. It's very, very similar to a 30-06 sign, but there was actually an additional change for 30-07 signs. 30-06 says that it must be posted in a conspicuous manner. A lot of people think it has to be posted at every entrance. 30-06 does not say that. But 30-07 does. 30-07 says, is displayed in conspicuous manner clearly visible to the public at each entrance to the property. So there can be no misunderstandings about a 30-07 sign. And the reason those things were put in there, and I'm going to give you the reason, right? I have never actually, how many of y'all go to the mall? Plenty of CHL holders. How many of you seen a 30-06 sign posted at a mall? I have never seen one, ever. Don't ever tell me who has a 30-06 sign posted. I'm not allowed to do that. I've never seen a 30-06 sign posted at a mall, ever. I don't know why, but Sears doesn't care, Foley's doesn't care, JCPenney's doesn't care. None of those care. And I've never seen one. All right, so 30-07 is the new sign. All right, I'm going to go back. This is exciting, right? I mean, open carry is exciting. It's a big deal. Not everybody's going to do it, but it is expanding gun rights in Texas. It's actually not the most important thing to pass this session. What I'm about to show you is. It's the most important thing for CHL holders, I assure you. Way more important than open carry. So if you violated a 30-06 sign before, you would be charged with a Class A misdemeanor. Like a $4,000 fine, 2 years in jail, up to 2 years in jail, bad things, you lose your CHL. So if you didn't see a CHL sign, which is not hard to miss sometimes, because they've got whatever standing in front of it, the door swung open, whatever it is, then you were guilty of a Class A misdemeanor. Not anymore. There's an organization out there that I like to call the Bloomberg cult. Who knows who that is? Okay, because I don't say their name. Who said their name? Bad. Is that you? So MDA, you know those terms? All right. Y'all gonna make me say it? Shannon Watts? Am I getting closer? There was an organization that decided they were going to go after the 30-06 sign. Let's just say that. And they were going to eliminate the maximum size for the sign, the maximum, and they were going to have no minimum. So it could be the size of a quarter, all the way up to a piece of paper 8 by 11 with a gunbuster sign. This is what this group tried to do. I was sitting there in committee hearing when they did that. And they came in and they held this sign up way up here that was 6 foot tall, and they said, businesses have to put up a sign that's this big, which is not true. The sign is about this big. It's not that big in English and Spanish, right? So they were trying to bully businesses. Okay, so I went to Representative Matt Schaefer and I said, Representative Matt Schaefer, why in the world are CHL holders always in fear of being charged with a Class A misdemeanor if they miss a sign? Now is the Class C misdemeanor. It is a ticketable offense with a max fine of $200. That is a big deal. And Representative Schaefer did it so slick. This received no opposition. Zero. Like none. You would think it would, right? Nope. Even Pancho Navarro is my arch nemesis in the conference. He and I love each other, really. He put it on as an amendment to the bill and it passed overwhelmingly.
It comes into effect January?
January 1st.
Okay, just want to be
January 1st. CHL holders, CHL instructors, excuse me, this is just for y'all. They just added a little piece right here. This was added. You're going to have instruction on handgun use and safety, including the use of restraint, holsters, and the methods to ensure the secure carrying of openly carried handguns. Basically what that means, CHL instructors, is they're going to take some of this fluff that they have in it over here, and they're going to minimize that a little bit, and they're going to put this retention training in there. It's probably going to be 15 minutes long. It's not going to make the training requirement any longer. It doesn't cost any more money. DPS will be sending you the information. It's not that big a deal. It'll probably take you 10 or 15 minutes to get up to snuff, because I pretty much just covered most of retention a while ago. They may bring some holsters, they may have some pictures of holsters and things like that, I don't know. So it doesn't lengthen the course for future CHL holders. This only impacts future CHL holders. It doesn't lengthen the course, it doesn't add cost, and it applies again to future.
Can you define future?
After January 1. My favorite part, I get to deal with activists, so this is the one that I usually have tomatoes and lettuce and things thrown at me. interacting with law enforcement. Law enforcement is going to be balancing licensed open carry with unlawful open carry. And it's very unfortunate that the legislature put our law enforcement in this position. But nonetheless, law enforcement has a job to do, and they have to enforce the laws that the legislature passed the way they passed them. And this is going to actually put law enforcement in uncomfortable situations, I think. But if we CHL holders will work with law enforcement, everything will be fine, I promise, okay? First of all, it is still illegal to carry a handgun on or about your person. Penal Code 4602 did not change. It clearly says a person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries on or about his person a handgun, illegal knife, club, if the person is not on their own premises under their control, or a vehicle or watercraft that they own or is under their control. It's against the law. Does everybody understand that? It is, and there's no exemptions in here in 4602 for CHL holders. That's important. In 46.15 there is something. And it says that 4602 does not apply to a person who is carrying a license issued under subchapter H to carry a handgun, and it's carried in a concealed manner or in a shoulder or belt holster. So what does this mean? Well, what it means is if law enforcement sees me walk through Conroe tomorrow, well, after January 1, and they see a handgun on my hip, they have reasonable suspicion to come and detain you. What is the reasonable suspicion? It's 4602. It's against the law to do what I'm doing. What the legislature created is called an affirmative defense. Unintentionally, by the way. They created what's called an affirmative defense, which means I have to prove that the law doesn't apply to me. I don't have time to argue about the Fourth Amendment and Terry v. Ohio. I don't have time for all that. I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen if you don't comply in a minute. If you are approached by law enforcement, and if you are asked, you will need to show your CHL without question. This is telling them that 4602 does not apply to you. Once you show them the CHL, the encounter should end immediately. I'm not going to be lectured. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to take my CHL, I'm going to go on about my business, or I'm going to go have coffee with it. Either way. But once your CHL is verified, the encounter should end immediately. There is no more probable cause. Don't give them a hard time. Give them your CHL. Tell them to have a good day. All right. Let me tell you what's going to happen, and then we only have one slide left. If you're bound and determined to die on the sword, which I've done, okay? I'm not saying you're a bad person for doing it. I just want to tell you how it's going to go. All right? If you refuse to give them your CHL, they can and likely will place you under arrest. But they're not going to charge you with failure to ID. They're going to charge you with unlawful carry of a firearm. Then, once you're arrested, the law requires that you ID. So now they're going to find out that you have a CHL. And since you've been so anal retentive, they're going to take you to jail, you're going to bond out, and they're going to let you take it up with the DA. The DA is going to get the case, and the DA is going to say, 4602 doesn't apply to them, dismiss, let them go, we're not going to charge them. Now you just spent a night in jail, now you just paid money to get it on bond, and I'm going to tell you right now, it was a lawful arrest. There'll be nothing you can do. It will be, then you got to go get your weapon. I know, they took my black powder. Let's work with law enforcement. They have a job to do. It's just a simple fact. Hold your question just 1 minute. Last slide The CHL name is to change as of January 1, 2016. The CHL will become the LTC. I like to call it Licensed Texas Carry, even though that's not really what it is. Licensed to Carry, LTC. And DPS's infinite wisdom, and they're the ones that decided that, they couldn't call it a handgun license. They had to mess up everybody's acronym. So now it's going to be an LTC as of January 1. What does that mean for your current CHLs? Nothing. Carry it till it expires, renew the same way, and then when you get a new one, you'll have a cool LTC. Until then, you'll have a cool CHL. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Now I will take questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, they made it an affirmative defense. Why didn't they make it an exception and put the burden on the state instead of on the suspect in the defense?
They weren't thinking clearly, just to be honest with you. There was a lot of controversy around campus carrying, around open carrying. Believe me, it was a big fight up there, and people were running around like chickens with their head cut off, and it just got by. Honestly. We'll try and correct it next session, and we'll see how that goes. Because that is where it belongs, as an exception in 4602.
I've been an election judge for a while. It used to be, they had these signs you had to post saying you couldn't have, carry a handgun there. You know, one of the signs with a picture of a revolver or a flash or something. And then they did away with it. So, as far as I'm concerned, as an election judge, I couldn't care less if somebody has a concealed handgun or not.
It is against the law to carry in a polling place on voting days, sign or not. Signs are irrelevant. It's prohibited.
Well, I really couldn't care less.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Regarding the example you gave, airport screening with PSA and law enforcement, is there any provision if there's some unlawful detention? You said that they're supposed to identify or you acknowledge they let you go out, but what about situations
Where they detain you for, let's say...
because they don't understand or know?
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, there are mechanisms to that, but you're looking at civil remedies for that. There's nothing in the law.
You know, the training that's been proposed throughout TSA to try to ward that off?
It's not TSA you got to worry about, it's the law enforcement at the airport you have to worry about. I mean, you do have to worry about TSA, but only while you're being... Yes. So, yeah, law enforcement is, as far as I know, being updated. We're trying to train as many law enforcement officials as we can. Obviously, we're not going to hit everybody, so some of it's going to be trial and error, just to be quite honest. So, yes, sir.
With the Class C misdemeanor, is that an affirmative defense, or is that, who has to prove that you accidentally missed?
The state. Well, no, they would have to prove you intentionally ignored it. That's where that burden would fall.
Two-part question on the belt holsters. Is that included in the waistband holster or only one?
Yes. So his question was, thank God that's the question you asked. His question was, for the belt holster, does that include inside the waistband? I'm going to answer this question one time, and then I'm not taking any more belt holster questions. I've done this a few times. If it connects to the belt, it's a belt holster. There's no definition in the law. Zero. There's no definition, which means it takes its lawfully. If you know how to read law, and you know how to go through the process of interpreting what the legislature said, if they don't give a definition, it takes the broadest possible definition. If it connects, if it's designed to connect to your belt, now don't go do your own design. You might get in a little trouble. If the holster is designed to connect to your belt, it's a belt holster. Part two.
What you were talking about, having it on your seat and a belt holster the same.
That's correct. Yep. Yes, sir.
If you'll permit me to brag on you a little bit. So, for those of you who don't know, I work in the Capitol for Representative Keogh, and the Holcombs came and visited our office at least 3 or 4 times during the session. I don't know of another group, a gun group out there that visited every office, all 181 of us, multiple times. I can tell you right now, the NRA and the TSRA came to see us 0 times. They even opposed us on a gun bill that we carried. While the Holcomb said it would hurt their bill and their chances, they weren't opposed to it. The other groups actively lobbied against a pro-gun bill that would have ended 4603 and 46035. So if you want advice and you need something on open carry or anything law enforcement related with guns, these are your guys. Because they're active, they have contacts in every office in the legislature. They're respected not only by the Republicans and the Democrats. And that's a testament of why they got 85 signatures in the House and 14 in the Senate. Because they came and they ground pounded and they talked to every single one of us. So
Thank you.
These are your people.
Thank you. I do feel very comfortable saying that Texas probably carries the greatest experts on Texas gun laws than any other organization out there. But we also use lawyers because even I'm limited on my legal ability to be able to decipher some of these words. So we work very closely with Texas Law School. Question? Questions, open carry? Oh, it cannot be that easy.
Could you give a little bit of an overview of your strategy, how you were able to accomplish what you did, the way you packaged the bills?
Yeah. He's asking about our strategy for the session. And our strategy was planned out months before the session. We actually went to the legislature the second week in November. We were there. So the legislature wasn't going to even start. We went after the November elections. We started going to work. And of course, the planning actually came before that. Obviously, part of the planning was activism work. So I know everybody knows about the open carry of long guns, right? And everybody hates it. It's okay, right? I know you saw it in the news, right? And everybody was calling the guys open carrying the long guns idiots, right? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if that hadn't happened, they would have ignored us in 2015. They ignored us in 2011, flat ignored us. They ignored us in 2013, and they were going to continue to ignore us because there was no leverage at the Capitol. Nobody was fighting for gun rights, and we figured that out. And so the protest started. That was obviously part of the package. I was also encouraging other gun rights groups to press constitutional carry. I had met with 3 or 4 of them, and I said, y'all press constitutional carry, I'm going to press this one. I'm going to be the viable alternative. We knew that it was no way constitutional carry was going to pass. No way was that going to happen. And that's kind of sad.
It is, yeah.
But nonetheless, and then we put a very, very nice 6-bullet piece of paper together. My wife probably worked harder than just about anybody in there, and we got a meeting with every single representative. We stayed away from every other issue out there. We didn't dare touch another issue. And we met with almost every representative 2 or 3 times. And believe me, some of those guys were hard to get into. Some of those guys didn't want to see us, but we were persistent. And if they wouldn't take our phone calls when we were at our other appointments, because we would schedule 16, 18 meetings, 20 meetings a day up there. And so between meetings, we'd go run by somebody's office real quick and say, look, you won't take our call. I don't want to send an email out saying that you wouldn't talk to us. We just need a meeting. And then we would win those people up. So that's pretty much how we packaged this up to get it done. We did have to concede some things. I hated the holster requirement. I hated the word holster being in it. Hated it. Because I knew it was going to cause controversy. And believe me, it's causing controversy. Y'all won't know it here, but we know it from where we're at. We're going to have problems with the holster issue. The IDing issue, right? Another problem. It's not perfect, but in order to... Another thing that helped me was the foot in the door. How many people know about the foot in the door at the Capitol on January 1? Okay, so a gun rights guy showed up and acted a fool and got thrown out of a legislature's office, and the legislature tried to shut the door, and he stuck his foot in the door. And the video went viral, and the news picked it up, and the whole 9 yards. Talked about hanging people for treason and things of that nature. Fortunately, because we had pre-planned so well, we had already met with about 50 legislatures. We had already established a relationship with the Capitol. Because I'm going to tell you something about staff. Staff's the ticket. If you want if you want to get a bill passed, you're not going to get it passed through the legislature themselves. You got to go through those guys. And we had a very good relationship. We were very well respected by staff. So by the time we were getting to see after the foot in the door incident on January 1, which by the way, we stayed home on January 1 because we knew things were going to get ugly up there and I didn't want to be anywhere near it. When we came back the following day, the only thing that saved us was our reputation up there for the previous 2 months. And staff knew each other. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you're probably going to have a little fight on your hands with the universities the next time around, you think?
Only if they don't behave. If they implement properly, there will not be a fight. It's not getting repealed. That's not going to happen. It will not get repealed. So they just need to implement it to make it work for everybody. We'll be happy. They'll be happy. Everything will be fine. But if they try and abuse their authority, then we'll go to the legislature and say, look, this is what they're doing. You need to take their authority away from them. You need to mandate it.
If anything, it'll do that with it.
Yeah. Yes, sir, in the back.
What do you know about the state of Virginia issuing concealed handgun license for Texas and several other states? Is it valid?
I'm going to answer the question bigger than Virginia. So the question is reciprocity. Can someone that has a license from Virginia open carry in Texas as of January the 1st? Yes. They have an Arizona license. Can they open carry or conceal carry in Texas? The answer is yes. We have reciprocity agreement with 36 states. We just lost Minnesota. They got mad because we gave our military guys the right to get a CHL. They got mad about that. I kid you not, that's the reason. Because we let 19-year-old military people get CHLs in Texas if they're military. And Minnesota got mad about it and yanked our reciprocity.
We still recognize their license.
We recognize theirs, that's correct. They don't recognize ours. Yes, sir.
Was open carry always part of your package? I mean, campus carry always part of your package?
No, we didn't. We testified and we helped with campus carry, but we weren't driving that. We just simply did not have the resources to do it. But we did go up there and we did testify for, of course, but we didn't pound the ground.
Did you have a concern that might
hurt us?
hurt us?
No. I didn't have a concern that would hurt me. I just wasn't going to pick up anything else that would drag me down any rabbit trails to make one of those legislators mad at me. Don't get me wrong, I had some harsh words with a few legislatures, but it was on my bill. It wasn't on another bill. So the strategy was always to stay very narrowly focused on open carry and let the other stuff shake out how it should go. Yes, sir.
Are you going to be pushing to reduce the number of places where firearms can't be carried?
So the question is Texas carry, so how about if I wait just a minute to answer that and I'll tell you what our 2017 legislative plan is. Yes, sir, question.
That's right.
Knife rights.
You think you can get them expanded?
They will be expanded. Well, let me rephrase it. Knife laws restrictions will be eliminated probably next session. I don't want to take credit for that. There's a knife rights group out there that leads that charge, guys. We do help them. We partner with them. We sit side by side together. We make sure our testimonies are what they need to be. I get the facts from them, but they do the heavy lifting, and I can't remember the name. What's the name of the knife rights organization?
I honestly never been.
Okay.
Because we're pro-gun.
Yeah. Any more questions?
In our office, you know we're pro-gun. Cecil's.
My other question I had was about the constitutional open carry like they have in the other states.
All right. So,
About having that.
all right, I'm going to answer this last question, and then we're going to shut it down. I will be available when we're done to take any other questions on the side. You just asked about constitutional carry in 2017. I'm just going to tell you what Texas Carry's priority is, and I have one. When I focus in on that one, that's where we're going to put all our resources. We filed a bill last session that actually made it out of committee in the House, but it died in calendar. And it's a state preemption bill that will give a citizen or an organization standing to sue a county or city that violates state preemption law. The idea that we have to depend on the Attorney General to do all of this is not going to work. And we made our case last session, and we got it out of committee, but we got outgunned a little bit, and it ended up dying in calendars. And that's just how it goes. I'll go back and make my case again, that it's not working because a right without a remedy is not a right at all. And so far, the Attorney General's office has not filed one suit on one city or county that is violating state preemption. And that is a problem for us. And I'm not saying they're not doing their job. I'm saying they're probably extremely busy fighting the federal government and all the unconstitutional overreaches there. I mean, every time we hear turn around, we hear they're suing the federal government over some little lizard. Okay? So the citizens need a venue. And so that is going to be our number one priority. Number two priority is to cut the CHL cost in half. We also shouldn't be making a revenue off of a right. Y'all can imagine how fun I'm going to have with that one. Okay? And I'm working with other gun rights groups that will be pushing unlicensed open carry. They will not be pushing constitutional carry, because if you use the word Constitution in the pink dome when you walk in the door shuts in your face. So we're going to be working on, and other groups will be working on unlicensed open carry, but we will not. Okay? Thank you. I'm out of time.
All right, appreciate you.